Welcome to TV Toastmasters. My name is Anne-Louise Sterry, and I am here today to interview the most amazing woman, Allison Bennett. She is a strategic, transformational facilitator and coach. And if you want to know what that means, she's going to be talking about these things. Today, we're going to discuss going from the dramatic to the pragmatic and how that can change our lives and bring us more joy. Welcome, Allison. I'm so happy to have you here today.
I'm absolutely thrilled to be talking with you. And this is a fun subject.
This is an amazing subject, the subject that connects with me and the work that I do. But first, I want to hear about the work that you do and what you're talking about when you say going from the dramatic to the pragmatic.
I'm all about being transformational. Since I was a kid, I've always been able to take a look into a situation and see the possibilities and ask a lot of questions, sometimes 1,000, which can be annoying, and then come up with a possibility that transform either the people, the relationship, or the project in a way that they may have never even considered before. And it is so much fun that is one of the things I want to share with other people.
I think this is amazing. And when you were a little kid, did you transform yourself when you were a little kid?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was very positive. I've had some definite challenges in my life and as a kid. And what I did is I took those challenges and I thought, okay, how can I use this to teach myself how to do something different? And how can I use this to help other people?
I really like this because, you know, often people think that being dramatic about these things or being the victim, that was a big thing for me when I was younger, is the way to be. Because in some way we're taught that. So tell me what you mean when you say, okay, I'm being so dramatic about something and now I want to be pragmatic. Give me some examples.
Well, I love that you were talking about being taught. We are entrained. We are entrained by society, by family, by the people around us, that especially our TV and radio, by everything around us, to be dramatic about anything. And what I found out, and it's a great entertainment. It is fantastic entertainment. It makes for great stories. But it doesn't necessarily make for the easiest living or the easiest interactions with either family or coworkers or employees or employers. So how can we take that and mold it into something that's really useful?
Yes, so give me that. I'm really interested. And also for yourself, right?
Exactly.
For yourself. So go ahead, keep talking. Give me an example, or I'll be dramatic, and you tell me what I can do differently.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, so today I was coming home from work driving, and I was stopped by the train. Immediately I said, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get home. I have to do these interviews tonight. I'm stopped by the train. Somebody told me I could be here for 40 minutes, and what am I going to do? And I was sort of spinning right there. In fact, I texted my husband and said, I'm stopped by the train. And then I said, okay, well, what am I going to do? So I want you to tell me what I could have done.
Okay, this is terrific.
Yeah.
So traffic is a great example of societal entrainment. When we think about getting stuck in traffic, what's the first thing we think? Oh my gosh, I hate this. This is terrible. People are angry. I'm angry. We get all this trauma and drama. And then our blood pressure raises. And if it's hot out, it gets hotter. Not so fun, right?
Yes.
Well, what if there's a different way to engage with traffic? What if this is fantastic? You know what? I've been trying to listen to this audio tape. I don't ever have enough time to listen to this audio tape. This is the perfect time to listen to that audio tape. Or, well, this is terrific. I have a moment, an extra few moments to actually collect my thoughts, to meditate with our eyes open, still aware of traffic, but to use it as meditating. Or, for me, to make somebody else's day happy. So if people are like honking, which we don't do a lot here in the Northwest, but in I live in other states as well, live and work in other states, they honk. So instead of them honking and getting mad, I just smile. Hi, have a good day. And then people laugh. It breaks that entrainment. We're entrained to either align and agree, which was like, oh, traffic is horrible. Or to resist and react. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And what if instead we can just say, okay, what else is possible?
What else is possible?
Yeah.
So we're changing our story, which is something that a way that I talk about it, we're changing our story.
Exactly. And I think stories are fantastic, and they're stories. We don't have to buy the story.
Yes.
We don't have to tell the story, and we don't have to believe the story. If we can tell the story if we want to, because sometimes it's entertaining and interesting, but we don't have to believe the story. And if we're not buying the story and believing the story, then we can change the story.
Yes, and see things differently. And often we're on, excuse me, autopilot. You were talking about autopilot.
Yes.
I see that a lot. But tell me your experience with that. People being on autopilot.
Okay, so let's say there's a coworker that's really challenging, and they come in and they always have complaining about something, and they're complaining about you, complaining about somebody else, talking about how terrible everything is. So one of the autopilot things is to either go, oh yes, it's terrible, or oh, I don't want to talk about this, run away. Well, what about just being in allowance and thinking, that's an interesting point of view. And and just leave it there. That's a way to detach. That's an interesting point of view. And if you find yourself going, oh, that person just bugs me, you can stop and go, that's an interesting point of view that I have that point of view.
Yes.
And if you're feeling like, oh, somebody's always getting on my case and they're really against me, that could be, well, that's an interesting point of view that I have the point of view that they have that point of view. I mean, and this could go on and on and on.
Yes.
And for some of us who have overactive minds, it really gives us something else to focus on. And then the little situation, instead of becoming a mountain, becomes definitely a molehill, or is completely wiped out, and you all of a sudden get an aha moment. It's like, oh, I could see this in a different way.
Yes, and that also reminds me of something I read in Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, and I think it is Buddhist, which is there's only 3 things you can do in a situation. You can accept it, you can leave, or you can change your point of view.
There you go, changing the point of
view.
view.
The same kind of thing, changing your point of view. I think that is absolutely amazing, and it works. I've experienced it. You've experienced it too, right?
Absolutely. I've had huge changes happen with, and I think one of the best ways to change is to ask questions.
Okay, so to ask questions. So let's do another example.
Excellent.
Well, you give me one.
Well, you go ahead, and I'll be the coach.
All right, you're going to be the
coach.
coach. Another example. Okay. Oh gosh, I have to think of one that's not too personal, but okay. Here is a really good one.
This looks good.
So, looking at a picture of myself that was recently taken, saying the back of my mind is saying, the little judge, oh my gosh, look at how you look. What is wrong with you?
Yep.
What is wrong with you? Okay, so go.
Well, first of all, it's an interesting point of view that you think something's wrong with you.
Aha.
And then let's go next. Well, whose point of view is that? Who does that even belong to? Are you being your mother, who was perhaps your mother who might have been overcritical, and perhaps she was overcritical about her own body, and she just projected it onto you? Well, that has to do with her. That doesn't have to do with you. And I know in America we are super hyper about weight.
Yes.
Well, that's an American society point of view. In some countries in Africa, where there's not as much food as we have here, being very bodacious is absolutely beautiful. And that is what gets more cows. The more bodacious you are, the more cows you get for your dowry. Isn't that an interesting point of view?
Yes, I like that.
So how many of these problems do we actually create for ourselves?
Exactly.
Then we have to ask, so do we create these problems so we could be normal like everybody else?
Yes.
And how different are we willing to be?
Well, in fact, that one about weight and how you look for American women is about being normal. Yes. Right?
Yes.
It's a thing that many women talk about. Well, I'm not going to talk about that anymore for myself because I am now bodacious and I am worth a lot of dang cows.
That's right. You are at least 9, I'm sure.
But this is something that women talk about together. So if we are, we're at book club or something like that, and it's a bunch of women.
Yes.
And we're all talking about this thing. Now, I have not learned from going from dramatic to pragmatic yet, so I'm doing the same thing.
Okay.
So we're all talking about it, and you come and you're going to coach us, so we stop this.
Okay.
And so what would you be saying to all of us?
If you stop the dramatic?
Yes.
Oh, so once you stop the dramatic entrainment, now you open the door for creating new possibilities and generating something new and different in your life. And generating is creating something that is bigger and better. And it could be something like a leadership position or a new business. In fact, I was in the doldrums a couple months ago, and I have a coaching business, and I was just, it's not that I was being bored with it, it was just not inspiring me as much anymore. And instead of going, oh, I think I should quit this, or whatever, I'm not doing this well, or all those other things that we do, I asked, I wonder what else is possible. What can I add? What can I change that would actually make this fun and exciting for me? So I simply created a new company called the Happier Hour Coach. And one of the things, the Happy Hour Coach, and so I'm not teaching people how to drink. Although, what I have found is that when I take coaching clients to a restaurant, often in a happy hour bar, and it's specific places, I know the staff, I know where to place people so that you're not in the center where everybody can see you, but usually off to the back and to the side, that when we're talking about change and moving to the next step, that in this atmosphere, the walls come down and we can access things we've never thought about before. And I love coaching in this type of a setting, so I thought, I'll create a new company, the HappierHourCoach.com, by the way.
I love it, the HappierHourCoach.com. That's fabulous. This is, I have loved talking with you so much, and I'm really, really sorry that we can't keep talking, because I think there's lots of things we could be sharing. You could be sharing with me, and I could be sharing with you. But in fact, we're going to have to end. But I wanted to ask you, where would we find out more information about From Dramatic to Pragmatic, or the Happy Hour Coach, or the Happier Hour?
The Happier Hour Coach.
The Happy Hour Coach. Where would we find that information?
Well, I have purchased the HappierHourCoach.com. It's purchased. The website's not up yet. And in the meantime, everything else is down. But you can reach me at AllisonInnovates@gmail.com, and that's Allison, Allison, second word Innovates, INNOVATES @gmail.com.
Well, I so appreciate you coming today and telling us all this, and I really would like to stay connected with you, so thank you so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you all for coming to our show at TV Toastmasters, and thank you to our guest again, Allison Bennett, and I look forward to seeing you all again another time for this show, which I'm now going to be calling Audacious Joy. Ciao.
I joined Toastmasters to improve my speaking, listening, communication, and leadership skills.
Toastmasters gave me
incredible confidence,
great listening skills,
poise,
great leadership skills,
the ability to speak in public,
strength, a captive audience,
quality feedback from the more experienced Toastmasters.
Toastmasters really helped me improve my listening skills.
sales skills,
opportunities to go to different groups and widen my whole horizon.
Toastmasters has given me a more focused me, and I'm a much better listener. Toastmasters is fulfilling.
It's a great place to fail your way to success.
Wonderful way to meet people.
networking,
Strength. It's addictive.
It's a club of self-improvement.
It's an experience, it's a ride that you won't forget, and you'll enjoy it every step of the way.
Toastmasters helped me land a kick-butt job.
I sang at one of my table topic speeches, and people liked it and applauded.
My business is doing great, and I'm very, very grateful to Toastmasters.
It's been a great experience for me.
Thank you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmasters, for giving me so much confidence.
Thank you, Toastmasters, for everything.
Good evening, I'm Michael Bran, and welcome back to TV Toastmasters. Tonight we are going to be talking about gaming. Not just the physical acts of gaming, but a new community that's building around here, building around a store involved with games and providing a kind of community in the area. We're joined tonight by Donna Cox from Geeks and Games. right here in Oregon City. So let's get to work. Welcome, LaDonna.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So tell us, what is Geeks and Games?
Geeks and Games is essentially a family board game store, but it's so much more than just a board game store. So people can come there to play games as well as purchase games and meet other like-minded individuals that would prefer to have the hands-on games rather than video games.
So tell me about the genesis. How did this get started?
Well, so a few years ago, I was deployed with the military, and I got a message from my husband, and he said that he wanted to open a game store. I told him no. And he asked again, can we please open a game store? He's always wanted to open his own business, and I have never wanted to. So he started bribing me by sending me games while I was deployed. And some of those games we would play in between our missions. We would have a 12-hour shift. 3 hours were allowed on scope, and then we would have a 3-hour break to work out, eat, catch up on other things. And then for some of us, we would occasionally play some board games. And then once a week, we would meet and spend 2 to 4 hours playing a board game. And so that started getting me thinking that I was in a very high-stress environment, and it was very relaxing for us. And halfway through a deployment, that's when things start going a little bit south. Relationships aren't as what they used to be, and people start fighting and picking at one another. And so for us, there was a good group of people that got to get together and form some different kinds of relationships with one another through board gaming. And so I got home the day before Thanksgiving, and by October the following year, we had our game store open.
Okay, so you said you would spend 3 hours of time on the scope, so I'm imagining you were doing radar Air Force?
Sorta. We controlled the airspaces in different countries.
Okay, and you served where?
I was in the United Arab Emirates.
Okay. Cool. Now, you came into the Air Force a little later in life, right?
I did. Wanted to make sure it was something I really wanted. My husband and I had tried to start a family, and when we were unable to, we decided to go ahead with our careers. So I followed through, went to basic training. I joined when I was 32. And when I graduated from basic training, my husband told me that we had a baby that would be born in 6 weeks for us.
Yep.
And so I got home 4 days before he was born, and then our family started, and then I deployed a lot. So my husband was a single father for a very long time.
Okay, so, and he was military as well.
My husband was 15 years in the military, in the Army, and the last job that he ended with was a drill sergeant.
Okay. Ooh, okay, great. So for our audience, explain like the gaming community. We hear about it. We understand that there's this new rise in electronic and immersive games. Tell us, give me a quick overview. Make our audience understand about gaming?
So the types of products that we have at our store are non-video games.
Okay.
So being able to sit down with your family and have a family board game night. We do a lot of Pokemon, which are collectible card trading games, Magic the Gathering. Again, more board games. We do miniature gaming as well. So you paint and put together little plastic figurines and have these battles on these very large tables. And then most importantly, we still have Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of people, I think, that it was something that happened back in the 80s, but we have D&D almost every single night of the week. And so it has brought a lot of people together that get to do that role playing and to be able to interact with one another and maybe play a character that would be more bold and ambitious than they are, and they still get a chance to interact with other people as well.
Yeah. So Geeks and Games is more than just a store. It's actually kind of like a third place where people gather. Tell me the kind of people who come into and hang out in Geeks and Games.
Typically, our customers stay between 2 to 8 hours a day. So you don't just, I mean, you can come in and buy a board game. It's going to be more than that because I'm going to make sure that the board game suits your family. For example, my husband and I tried playing a cooperative game and decided that really wasn't for us, that it's better for somebody to be a winner and somebody to not be the winner. But for some families, that dynamic works, right, to be able to have that cooperative, that that group, that team building spirit. So I want to make sure, first off, that that game is the right fit for them. And then we have a lot of our customers are veterans, a lot of customers that perhaps may not have felt comfortable being in a large environment, a large intimidating environment. So just the placement of things in our store was to help everybody feel comfortable. So veterans, also people that have physical disabilities, that might have some social disabilities, that is what we welcome into our store. So there's a lot of diversity that people wouldn't normally experience, but it's not just diversity in a store, it's diversity in a group of people. So they all get together and they find commonalities that they like about one another and what they like about the gaming. And so it brings people together that wouldn't normally be hanging out.
Okay, so let's focus in a little bit on veterans. You said who may not be comfortable in other settings. Tell us about the kind of community growing amongst veterans in Geeks and Games.
We have had a lot of different customers that maybe have some form of PTSD or that may be battling with some addictions that don't feel comfortable necessarily being in an environment where they may not know each other. When I'm speaking to a customer and I find out that they're a veteran, I feel like there's an automatic connection. And when we let them know how many veterans we have, it's something that they feel safe, that no matter what happens, if they're having a day that they're a little bit off, that they're going to have somebody else back them up. And we have had a lot of veterans just be an emotional support for one another. And be able to feel safe knowing that if they're having a bad day, if there is something going on, that we're going to be kidding around and joking with one another, but we're also going to be serious and make sure that everybody is safe.
So you're doing some bonding through
Absolutely.
humor and game playing, and you're providing them a safe space where they can, if they're working through other issues regarding their service, right? Now you also do work with the special needs community.
I do.
Tell us about that.
Well, we do a lot of, we have a lot of sanctioned events that our store has. So for example, on certain nights of the week, we may have Dungeons and Dragons that's just for the kids. On one night in particular, we have a special needs gaming group that we typically rent our board games. We have a board game rental library, but on that particular night of the week, it doesn't cost anything because we want people of all ages, whether it's kids or adults, no matter what their disability is, to be able to come in and form a connection with somebody and to be able to game and have that connection, to be able to have fun. If it's an older individual that wants to come in that has some kind of disability and they just want to feel like a kid, we can do that too.
Oh, cool. Okay. Because I want to feel like a kid as well. So tell me a little bit more about why did you pick Oregon City as a place to open a business?
My husband, Adam, and I had originally moved to Oregon City in 2001. We looked at a couple of different places to be able to open our business. Ultimately, we came back to Oregon City. It's our home. It's our community. We've lived here long enough that we felt we could do a lot of things to help our community. There are other areas that would have worked just as well, but having that physical connection to this is where our home is, this is where our child goes to school, that we wanted to be more involved. And if we're going to live here, then we want to make it something good for our child to grow up in.
Oh, cool. So what are your plans? What are the future plans for growth with Geeks and Games? Where do you go from here?
Well, for now, we just want to continue to be part of our community. So we're involved with the Chamber of Commerce. We also are part of Sheltering Our Neighbor. During the wintertime, we're an area or a place that people can come to that's warm and dry. So if they want to use our Wi-Fi, but it's a good place for them to come to while they're working through some other issues. We're also, annually we called it Food for the Blood God. The Blood God happens to be a Warhammer thing.
What's a Warhammer?
Warhammer is painting as little miniatures that's played on a very large table with lots of terrain. So the Blood God slogan is Blood for the Blood God, but we change it once a year to say Food for the Blood God. And if you want to join that tournament and play, instead of paying me money, you have to pay me in food. And if you roll your dice and you don't like it, you have to pay me in food. And eventually that food grows and grows. And at the end of the day, we have a very large table that's heaping full of food that we get to donate to Backpack Buddies.
That is awesome.
So those are some of the other things that we like to be involved in. We do a lot of, it was started last year, but an annual scavenger hunt for Easter eggs that I go around to different businesses, collect some stickers or coupons and hide them in the community and then post scavenger hunt clues. We just, like I said, we want want the kids to feel comfortable in our store. We want the adults to feel comfortable in our store. And so for us, expanding means to find other avenues that we can be a part of in the community, such as.
So it sounds like not only you're creating community within your store, but you're taking that out into the community and impacting as
We
well.
have quite a few people that sell some of their work at our store. So we have jewelry that people get to sell. We have different artwork, just lots of fun, different community things that we want to support our community, but our community is also business, has lots of businesses in it. So if we can help support other businesses in the process, then we want to do that as well.
So if people want to find out more about Geeks and Games, where can they go?
Oh my goodness. We do a lot of Facebook and social media posts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also have a website as well. So we're OC Geeks and Games.
Right, and you're located right on Beaver Creek?
Beaver
right
Creek.
in the Bi-Mart Plaza there?
Yep, the Southridge Shopping Center.
Fantastic. Now, my final question. What's your favorite game?
Oh my goodness, there's so many.
You have like thousands to choose from when you go to work each day. What a great thing, yeah.
So yeah, for me, I think it's going to be the one that my husband sent me, which was Camel Up.
Camel Up, okay.
I'm in the desert.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, Donna. And I'll say that my favorite game there was Exploding Kittens. So, tell that later. So I'd like to thank LaDonna once again for being here tonight. Really important, a third place in Oregon City that is providing not only a product, but also a chance to build community. My name is Michael Bran. Once again, thank you for joining us tonight. And on behalf of TV Toastmasters, have a good evening.